We are heading into bowl season, guys, and this is my final conference picks for all of the Power 4 games. Let's review the regular season standings for all Power 4 conferences. The Big Ten did the best, 80-19 overall. The Big 12 was worse, 50-38. Still not terrible, but we all finished on a really good high note. The last week went 10 for 10, perfect in the SEC. 71-25 there, 75-25 in the ACC. So overall, between the four Power 4 conferences, even after starting at only week 4, I finished 276-82. That was a 72% winning percentage, and the Big 12 was a big reason that was even lower. So if you only had the Big 10, ACC, and the SEC, that would have been closer to 80%. So I'm going to do something different. I'm going to just do the confidence picks for not all the bowl games, just the Power 4 versus Power 4 kind of bowl games. There's 43, I think, bowl games total before the playoff, or I think including the playoffs. But I'm just going to do games that include Power 4 teams versus other Power 4 teams, because, I mean, who really cares about TCU versus Louisiana or UConn versus UNC? So there's 18 of these. What is my most confident bowl pick for this season? It is Alabama or Michigan. Michigan had that great win over Ohio State, obviously. They basically played without their best players besides Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant. And they play without Will Johnson and Colston Loveland. I mean, a lot of people on that team got injured. Edwards got injured midway through the second quarter, too. But Michigan's going to be playing with even less people. This is one of the most meaningless, glorified scrimmages you will ever see. Alabama, Jalen Milroe playing in this one. Alabama's going to be playing with some people down, but I just think Alabama, this game could get ugly. It could be a 28-plus point victory. The spread's only 10. I would definitely pound the crap out of that spread for Alabama. I think they're going to crush Michigan in this bowl game. Second most confident pick, Texas over Clemson. I do believe Clemson has a really good chance of covering this. I just cannot see any scenario, no matter how bad Quinn Ewers plays, how many picks he throws, I just can't see a scenario with Clemson upsetting Texas. I can't see it. And yes, this is going to be at home for Texas too. And Clemson, obviously they were the better team against SMU, but I mean, between them and the ACC, it just wasn't tough this year. And Texas has been battle tested. I would say they killed everybody. They had a close game against Vanderbilt, but if any team that wasn't Georgia, they freaking had their way with. And I think Texas is just probably one of my favorite top 2 or 3 teams to win the national championship. I just don't see any way Clemson wins this game. Cover, yes. Win, no chance. That goes to my other next game, Penn State over SMU. If this was a night game, this might have been my number 1 or number 2 most confident pick for Penn State. Just knowing that the first ever Saturday playoff game will be at Penn State Stadium, Beaver or Happy Valley. Just like Clemson, I could see SMU covering this. I just don't see them winning this game. I think Penn State is the 2 toughest teams they played. Yes, they lost to, but they also played them to 1 possession as well. SMU is by far the third, if the third best team they play. Could be the 4th best. But I think Penn State is, even with James Franklin, I think any team that's not Michigan, Ohio State, or an SEC team, James Franklin knows how to cover the spread, and he knows how to win those games. And I think Penn State just has a weird vibe to them, especially with their side of the bracket. They have a chance to not only win this game, also upset Georgia without their quarterback, or upset Boise State, who I think was the number 3 seed, and then they have a good chance at upsetting Georgia if they were to get past the Notre Dame Indiana winner. So they have a chance to go to the national title game, but it starts with this game against SMU. I think they win this one. Number 15, South Carolina over Illinois. Illinois was such a pretender team to me. Yeah, they got to 9-3. Yeah, they had some decent wins. They played Penn State tough. They got blown out by Oregon, but I think other wins, they got a quote ranked win over Michigan. Michigan only allowed 21 points in that game, and Illinois only allowed 7. Michigan was a terrible offensive team. If Michigan would have actually had any sort of competent offense, they would have beat Illinois. But I got to give it up to Brett Bielema for his job there. But South Carolina is a team that was one of the first 2 or 3 teams out of the playoff. They were such a good team, and honestly, if it wasn't for the called back interception penalty against LSU, we could have been looking at a 10-2 South Carolina team being in the playoffs, potentially hosting a playoff game, and this wouldn't even be a discussion. But I think even they have a lot of people coming back. They're going to remain in this bowl game. I think Sellers is coming back. He's going to play in this. I think it's going to be a bloodshed for Illinois in this one. 14 Ole Miss over Duke. I really don't have much analysis to say. If Jackson Dart plays, I just see no chance for Duke winning this. They're already a 2-touchdown underdog. They're just already lacking. I just see Ole Miss whomping on them. SEC over an ACC team. Number 13, Notre Dame over Indiana. Yes, this is will be the first ever playoff game at a home stadium. It will be in South Bend at night. We'll have Touchdown Jesus there in the background. It's going to be an awesome sight, awesome moment, and everybody that's watching it is going to love it. This is the apex of college football. This is of tradition in college football. It is Notre Dame Stadium, Touchdown Jesus at night. There's going to be no better setting in all of college football. We're going to see the Golden Dome in the background as well. It's going to be awesome. I think Notre Dame's going to win over Indiana. They had a magical season that Hoosiers did. First 10-win season in school history, let alone the first 11-win season. But I think Notre Dame's just a good team, man. They had a loss to Northern Illinois. Ever since then, though, they've just been killing it, everybody. The only good game was against USC. USC was still a tough out. That was on the road. I just feel like Notre Dame's going to beat Indiana. And could Indiana cover? Of course they could. I just don't see them covering. I think Notre Dame just has more depth than Indiana. They played a better schedule, and I think Indiana, I don't think they were a pretender. They definitely deserve to be in this, but I think they're going to be one and done in this playoff. Number 12, A&M over Southern Cal. Miller Moss is in the portal. Lincoln Riley's just not been good in bowl games in recent memory. A&M has their freshman quarterback. He's coming back, so he's going to play. I don't know about other opt-outs for either team, but I just think A&M's going to have less opt-outs. They have more talent than USC does right now. They just were playing better. I think the Aggies are going to beat Southern Cal in this one. Number 11, Minnesota over Virginia Tech. One of the few Big Ten teams I picked to actually win in the actual bowl game, not a playoff game. I think Minnesota they could have easily gotten to 9 wins this season, but they could have also easily got to 6-6 as well. 7-5 for PJ Fleck. Really good year. Virginia Tech was a couple plays away from competing for an ACC championship. Those did just not go their way. But I think Minnesota's going to beat VT in this one. Number 10, Kansas State over Rutgers. Not much analysis. I think Kansas State, all their players are going to play. Rutgers they had an easier schedule. They kind of limped to a 7-5 season. It was good for Rutgers standards the last decade and a half. But I just think Kansas State's that much better. They're going to romp over the Scarlet Knights in this bowl game. Moving on to the right side, number 9 most confident pick game. Louisville over Washington. The spread is really close in this. I just don't believe in Washington, the Huskies. I just can't see them. I don't know what it is. They had a decent year, but they were 6-0 at home and went 0-6 on the road. Louisville had a chance to get to the ACC title game, but they just had a bad stretch there in October, which kind of basically put them out of it. I think they're still the better team, and they're going to beat the Huskies. Number 8, LSU over Baylor. This game, I don't know about their quarterback situation for LSU, but I just know Brian Kelly and LSU have more talent than Baylor. I don't know how motivated they will to be playing in this game. We could have a lot more opt-outs as the date gets closer. But LSU, I just think, is going to beat Baylor. I don't know how they got the 7 wins themselves, but I think I would pick LSU in this one. Number 7, Arkansas over Texas Tech. This game, at the moment I'm making this video, is basically a pickup. Their spread is even. Arkansas is just they were one of the toughest outs in the country. I mean, shoot, they beat Tennessee at home in the early part of this season in September. And Texas Tech, they had a couple decent wins. They beat both teams in the Big 12 championship game before losing 3 other conference games to knock themselves out. But Arkansas, man, they've been one of my better teams to look at, with the more highly rated, power rated teams that went 6-6 this year. I think they're top 30 or top 35. Even though they lost 6 games overall, I would take the Razorbacks over the Red Raiders. Number 6, Miami over Iowa State. I do think at this moment that Cam Ward is still playing this game. Do I think he will in the end? I don't think he will. I just think Miami is a better team than Iowa State. They have absolutely no running game. That got gashed against Arizona State. I think there was a 250 plus yards rushing Skadibo had against them. This could be a field goal game like the spread shows. I just think Miami's going to win over the Cyclones. Number 5, Missouri over Iowa. I don't know really how to address this because it's weird. A lot of these picks are really difficult now. We're getting to the top 5 hardest games to pick. It comes down to opt-outs, and it comes down to who's your quarterback. Iowa, I don't think that many opt-outs, but Kate McNamara went to the transfer portal again, so he's not playing in this one. And if he was your best option, I can't imagine what your backup was. Missouri was kind of an overrated team all season, but in the end, they're just a better SEC team. They got the 9 wins. Iowa got the 8 wins. I just don't see them have any chance against Tigers. I think Missouri's going to win. Number 4, BYU over Colorado. This is actually not considered a Big 12 conference game, and it's because the bowl games still have contracts, and Colorado is still tied to their Pac-12 contract before this year. That's why you're seeing this game not only as a Big 12 matchup that's not actually a conference game, but it's actually a rematch. These two teams played early on in the season when BYU was, killing it, starting off 6-7-0. BYU won by only 3 in that one. They're in this one, they're 3-point dogs. At this moment, Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders are playing for Colorado. Again, just like Miami, I don't see them playing because those two might both be a top 5 pick of the NFL draft, most likely top 10, both of them at this point. So I don't know what good or what purpose it would serve to play in this game. I mean, Deion's come out and said it, but I mean, come on. Does it really matter? I'm going to take BYU to cover 3 points and to win outright over the second time over the Buffaloes. Number 3, Vandy over Georgia Tech. This game is one of the games that most people have circled as the non-playoff game that most people want to watch. Vandy has covered the spread, I think 7 or 8 times as an underdog, and I think they won 5 of those outright, including obviously the big one against Alabama. They had a couple more against Auburn, and I forget what the other one was. But Georgia Tech, obviously, that last week of the season against Georgia, they played to 8 overtimes. Probably should have won. They're up 17-0. This game's going to be miraculous. Pavea versus, Jackson or I forget his name, their quarterback for Georgia Tech. This one's going to be a crazy game. I think it comes down to a field goal, if not, 7 points, 1 possession. I do think Vanderbilt will win this game in the end, though, over the Ramblin' Wreck. But this is going to be an awesome game to watch, guys. Number 2, the second least confident pick is Ohio State over Tennessee. Now, I know it's going to be at Ohio State. This is going to be a night game. And it's going to be against a Tennessee team who I feel is not, really done much. Their schedule's been one of the easiest in the SEC. That's why they're 10-2. Their only losses were to Georgia and Arkansas. But at the same time, that you have to understand what the mindset of an 18 to 22-year-old, a player is for Ohio State. You had hopes and aspirations to come to this. No matter how much you were paid or how much your whole teammates were paid. You came into this season with aspirations, maybe not going undefeated, but definitely playing for the Big Ten title and definitely playing, getting a bye, being a top 4 seed in the playoff. That loss to Michigan in the last week of the season, I think, did enough mental damage. It might be less damage to the players, but more to the fans. And if y'all watched that Ohio State-Michigan game, that third quarter, it kind of turned for them when they went it was 3rd and 9. And they ran a draw and they got stopped, and the next play they missed a field goal. That crowd turned on Ohio State. And I feel, I'm still thinking Ohio State's going to win this game, but I feel that all it's going to take, especially in the second half of this game, if it's close, or if Ohio State's losing, all it's going to take is one bad play, one bad call, one stop, and this crowd, who was expecting perfection, the world of this $20 million roster, will absolutely turn on Ryan Day again. And I think the boos might be even louder than that third quarter draw on 3rd and 9 against Michigan if things were not go the way. In the end, though, I think Ohio State will prevail over Tennessee. They have number 1 defense. They only allowed 13 points to Michigan, and they freaking still lost. So, I mean, that was a fluke. Michigan was just, they were in their heads. So, Tennessee, I think, will be an easier out for them, technically. But I would not be shocked if Tennessee pulls the upset. They still have a potent offense that can put up points fast. Their defense is just as good as Ohio State. I still think the Buckeyes get it done in the end, though. Number 1, my least confident pick. I have absolutely no idea how to pick this game, guys. Boston College is 2.5-point dogs over Nebraska. I don't think Dylan Arroyo is going to leave. There's been rumors, but I think everybody else basically on offense is in the portal for Nebraska. I don't know why. They're coming off a 7-win season. Boston College, on the other hand, their quarterback is not there, Castellanos. I think he already transferred to another school. I think he already committed. I forget what school it was. But I'm just going to take BC because they have less opt-outs at this point. Nebraska has a lot, even though they have a better quarterback situation. I have no other analysis with this. I just think Boston College is going to beat Nebraska. So those are my picks of Power 4 versus Power 4 bowl games, guys. I'm going to go over really quick. I'll just let it, if you guys want to pause the video after I go over these, I'm going to go over each conference by itself and who I think is going to pick in the conference. So Join me next time, guys. We'll have some analysis on the college football playoff games. And if I don't see you then, have a Merry Christmas, have a Happy New Year.